May I also stand on the protocols, recognize Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, His Royal Majesty Tupu the 14th, and borrowing from our chairman, let me say, comrades and friends. Good evening. A few hours ago, we made history. We carved the name Jerry John Rawlings onto the NDC headquarters building with his bust. We did not name a building, we signed a covenant. So this evening, under the theme, From Revolution to Republic, the Rawlings legacy, I have the greatest privilege to make a few comments on a topic that I've taken the privilege to pick, which is probity as an address. What the Rawlings House demands from us. And I thank the leadership of both the NDC and the Rawlings Foundation for the honor. To be chairman, Rawlings was many things to many people. To the ordinary worker, market woman, farmer, student, the man in the street, he was charismatic because he made them feel seen. To the poor, weak, and vulnerable, he was the empathetic, tender-hearted, and compassionate man because he understood their struggles. To the powerful and privileged, he was enigmatic because he made them feel nervous. A single stone cold stare could make a general freeze. I have a good friend in Europe, Ambassador Catron, founder of the Trans-Montana Forum. Anytime he sees me, he will ask about Rawlings, and then he will tell a story. And the story was that Rawlings was a guest speaker at one of the events, and he had 15 minutes for the opening. And there was also an arrangement for him to meet the president. So as the time was getting close, the chair, who happened to be a minister of state, was getting quite edgy. Meanwhile, the audience were on their feet and were applauding to Rawlings booming. They were happy, and he was on, and they were happy and cheering him on. At a point, according to the ambassador, the presidency was also sending messages. They wanted to be sure if he had left. So the chairman for the occasion, the Minister of State, at a point got up and was walking towards President Rawlings. He turned around, saw him, and with one stare, the man stopped in his tracks. And then he asked him, "Were you coming to take the mic from me?" He couldn't respond. And he said, "Go and take your seat." That act really became a kind of reference point for my friend Ambassador Catron. He will always refer to that I've never seen anything like that before. So that was Rawlings. Now, June 4th, 1979 happened 46 years ago, but it is not history. It is a question mark still hanging over Ghana. 46 years on, the revolution is asking a serious question. Did we eradicate impunity, or did impunity just change clothes? Comrades, 46 years later, we are still answering the question, because for 46 years, we've told the story through its extremes. The brutal methods of the house cleaning, some of which could have been avoided because the medicine was bitter, we stopped the conversation there. So as a nation, we've been in denial about the disease. We recall an extreme situation that resulted in the collapse of the economy and public trust in leadership. When you ignore root causes, symptoms return. That is why misconduct and corruption, Toby just mentioned, in public office after the June 4 and 31st December revolution should not surprise us. We condemn the methods of the revolution, but we were never willing to address what created it in our national conversation. If probity, accountability, and social justice were the prescription, did we swallow it or just complain about the taste of the medicine and spat it out? Comrades, before we move on, let me settle something political analysts love to argue about. Was June 4th caused by Rawlings or was Rawlings caused by June 4th? The truth is both. And if we don't understand that, we will misunderstand today's headquarters naming. First, Rawlings was the cause of June 4th. First, was Rawlings the cause of June 4th? No. Ghana didn't wake up at dawn to hear, sorry for the interruption by someone with an accent, to a GBC morning show playing Bob Marley's Three Little Birds, and the revolution was launched. On May 15, 1979, a 31-year-old flight lieutenant decided the rot in the country, which his superiors were answerable, was too deep to offer them a salute. He incited mutiny. He failed. He was arrested and he was put on national TV for a court-martial. And that's where the cause began. Because Ghanaians heard him say what the market woman, the soldier, the teacher, and the broad mass of Ghanaians were all thinking. He said, this country is bleeding, and the generals and their civilian collaborators are drinking the blood. He gave the anger a voice. He gave the mutiny a moral frame, probity, accountability, and social justice. So without Rawlings' decision to act and his courage to take responsibility for the mutiny and to speak out during the live telecast court-martial, June 4th would have been another barracks story, forgotten after the ruling. Of course, we all know the death sentence and executions. He lit the match. Second, June 4th was the cause of Rawlings because the ground was already soaked. The economy was dead. Talabili ruled. The people were hungry and angry. When he was released from detention by his colleague officers of June 4th, thousands of soldiers and civilians didn't follow Rawlings. They followed their own rage. He had the courage to be standing at the front. June 4th turned the mutinous officer into a national symbol. The crowd made him bigger than himself. The event gave him a mandate he never applied for. So, both causes made each other. Rawlings caused the uprising by speaking. June 4th caused Rawlings by answering. The real cause behind both causes was Ghana's pain at the time. And that brings us today, what a few hours ago we named after him. If June 4th was just one man's ambition, then the name on the wall and the bust is just decor, just ego in concrete. And this is one of the things he hated while alive. But if June 4th was Ghana's pain, demanding an answer, then naming the headquarters after Rawlings is not nostalgia. It is a covenant. It says the pain that caused June 4th is still with us. Inequality, impunity, indifference to the base. So this house will now be the answer. Your Excellency, Rawlings caused June 4th by courage. June 4th calls Rawlings by mandates. Our touchdown is to cause a new effect. Let the name on the building cause better behavior inside the building. In 1981, the revolution returned when business as usual. In 1981, as usual in politics. Then in 1992, Rawlings did what most revolutionaries fear. He ditched the gun for the Constitution. This is Rawlings' crowning achievement, the hallmark of his legacy. He moved us from revolution to republic, from rule by decrees to rule of law, from BNDC to parliament. Comrades, if anyone doubts Rawlings' legacy and engages you, don't break a sweat trying to convince them. Direct them to the three presidents who came after him and what they have said about him. I'll just conclude what the three presidents said. President Kufuor, the man he handed power to in 2001, said this about him: Rawlings is the midwife of Ghana's democracy. That peaceful handover alone secures his place in our history. President Akufo-Addo called him a towering figure who forced Ghana to confront probity and accountability, and the architect of the First Republic we live in today. President Mahama, who served under him, said, Rawlings was the voice for the voiceless. The best tribute is to continue his unfinished work of social justice. So, colleagues, when your political rival and successor and your protege all say the same things about you, that is profound. That is why naming this house after him is not about nostalgia, it is about responsibility. Thank you very much for your attention.